Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of I Am Legion for Dying Light 1 and 2. My name is Jason, and so I wanted to do a quick video showing off some of the latest custom AI that I've set up. So these are the companions, and you may recognize some of these characters. So this is based off of the 1.1 H update, and basically I've been slowly working on this project, or this part of the project, which is the companion code. And so the idea here is I put some familiar faces on here so that you could get excited about what is actually possible. But we have their voices working, we have their actual motions working on their models, and they're actually able to move around the world and interact and take out the enemies pretty freely. So the idea here, the hope for this is that with this updated custom code, that they essentially roam the world and identify targets inside the world, but they also stick with the player. So the idea here is that I actually have custom companions that are going to safeguard me as I travel. They will continue to also sync up. So this is where he's synced up with another group and he's going off to fight. So I'm going to actually follow him and see what they get into. But basically, super exciting progress so far where they have figured out how to move across the world and follow the player while also taking on their own objectives, which is actually pretty fun. So, kind of the initial AI that I created just simply followed the player, and that was fine for the most part. But what I started to realize is that they kind of became overwhelming and were just kind of always there around the player. And so this new approach is to try to create AI that will kind of have their own objectives inside the world and do their own thing, but then also will sync up and pair up with the allies inside the world and continue to just kind of hover around the player. So they're not really meant to directly, side by side follow the player as much as they are to kind of shield and guide the character as you're traveling through the world. And so you should kind of see them around the world as much as they will continue to follow you for the most part and continue to have their own objectives. So they will actually go down and meet up with the PK down below and continue to take out enemies. And then they'll also continue to travel around the world. So let's see what happens here if I go up this. So this is a known issue where they didn't actually add nav mesh to that crane bar there, and so as soon as you go across that, your AI essentially don't know how to follow, and so I wanted to just kind of go across there and see. There's that LOD at work there. Um, but I kind of wanted to go across and see. All right, so if I walk away from them and kind of leave them behind. Oh look, I got to update their icons. So they're listed as enemies to the binoculars. But essentially, they're going to go down and continue to fight the world until you sync back up with them. So let's go see if we can get a little bit closer. And I'm still dialing this in, so this is definitely not the end result. This is not released. This is just ongoing development where I'm continuing to look at how can we allow these guys to kind of exist in the world as companions and continue to look at things like could they actually go loot the world? Could they actually go, help collect gear? What could we allow them to do inside the world that would make them interesting characters without making them super needy or dependent on the player. And so let's see here if we. That's not him. So if we, yep, so he's kind of doing his own thing, and then for some reason, I think she's usually the one that ends up getting reset. Well, it reset him, but basically the idea here is that if you lose your AI, so if your companion gets too far away, it will actually respawn them where you summon them. So I've got a summon point that I'm creating now with kind of a flare to say, "Come help me out at this location." And if you lose sight of these companions, they'll kind of double back and go back to that location. So it does look like some of the code is continuing to roam a bit far. He's continuing to clean out the world. So I will have to kind of tighten up those parameters a little bit and make that a little bit more dependent on the player, so that they're not just kind of roaming off into the world so far away. So instead of that, make them kind of exist in the world a little bit more orbiting the player than this. But the idea here is that we have these two up on top and shooting down at the enemies. We can join them and actually hold off against enemies. And so the kind of a really cool idea here is that as you continue to collect gear, as you continue to provide them with equipment and that kind of thing, you could potentially have some really fun night missions and that kind of thing where you take these guys along and actually have them cover your ass while you're continuing to explore the world. And so continue to look at what all could be done through this. And seeing what all we can get set up for these actual custom AI characters. And so far, pretty happy with them. Outside of the fact that you occasionally, so he just kind of decided, I'm not going to help right now. So he's just kind of hanging out. And so it's still coming along. It's going to continue to need refinement, but I wanted to share a progress report and just kind of show how it's coming and get you guys excited for the upcoming companions code. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to hearing your guys' feedback. Talk to you guys next time.